speak on it. We are here at the end, for all practical purposes, of Negro History Month. So today we want to salute all that it represents. But one of the things that I want to say before we go into the salute is that we are not going historical as it relates to what they usually do. We're going to do something a little different. One of the great icons of our people, entertainer, political official, made his transition in the last several days. Commissioner Jerry Butler. And we want to just play a clip just to salute his life and contribution to the rest of us. Many of us were about his age, those that I imagine are listening or looking at speak on it this time of day. I would think that some of y'all have memories of going to the Regal, standing in line. That was before it was named King Drive, down there on South Park. There were some smooth days back then. And then you had Commissioner Jerry Butler, and later on the impressions, Major Lance and all the rest of them, they would be there. And most of us about the same generation. They were the older brother or sister of us, talking about generationally. But we was all there. They might have been 9 or 10 years older than us, and that made it easy for us to identify with them. And I think one of the things that happens as we look back and as we watch in real time, the transitioning of generations from those that come and those that go. I have to salute when someone that I knew and enjoyed go into the afterlife. So just pay attention, if you will, and enjoy. Hit there with your sister, Amani, the Commissioner Jerry
Butler passed away. Jerry Butler, the legendary soul singer known as the Iceman, has passed away at the age of 85. He passed away on February 20th, 2025, at his home in Chicago after battling Parkinson's disease. Butler first rose to fame in the late 1950s as the original lead singer of The Impressions, gaining recognition for the hit song For Your Precious Love. His smooth, soulful voice made him an R&B legend. After going solo, he released classics like Only the Strong Survive and Never Give You Up, securing his place in music history. Beyond music, Butler dedicated over 30 years to public service as a Cook County Commissioner in Illinois, working to improve healthcare in local communities. His influence extended far beyond the stage. His passing has left fans and fellow musicians mourning a true icon. Tributes have poured in from around the world, honoring his talent and legacy. Jerry Butler's music will live on forever. Rest in peace, Jerry Butler.
Well, you can see trying to do more than one thing at a time creates an issue. Trying to figure out how to get documentation, if no more than verbally, of some of this work we're doing, because in the technology, the way it is, YouTube, Facebook, and all these places, they can erase you when they get ready. So I'm trying to go back, and this recorder here, one of them old cassettes. I don't know, I guess it's old. But I have a hard time getting this thing to sit correctly. And I think a lot of it do have to do with the technology, because we have become so accustomed to doing things on a different vibe. Now, we will acknowledge Negro history, but I think I would suggest you be sort of open-minded with this, because some people seem to be a little bit reluctant to, I won't say embrace, because you don't have to embrace, you don't have to accept, but to let it be. President Trump is the president. And President Trump celebrated with some other citizens who happen to be Negro. They probably call themselves Black and African Americans. That's because they have been so programmed and brainwashed that they don't have enough sense to understand that the whole essence of our ancestry is not this black foolishness, this African American foolishness. It's what our ancestors were. But I'm not going to try to spend time in this short little space trying to bring the retro current flavor to that. Retro being the elders, the ancestors, current being the contemporary from the babies until the elders. So when Trump states the things he states, I hear blacks and African Americans having a real problem with this. But I didn't hear these people having a problem when Biden called Jesse Jackson a boy. I ain't heard no uproar. I ain't heard no one object to a lot of things that have come our way. But when somebody say, I love African Americans, I love black people, when somebody say what Trump is about to say, we can't believe it. Or you can't believe it. But it's historical. So play that, Miss Amani, where Trump and then that other piece, the WFF, just play them back to back, and then I'll do my little summary, and it'll probably be time to get out of here anyway.
I look at this turnout, I look at the love in the room. This is just love in the room. And I remember the first time I did this, my first administration, one of my first meetings, there wasn't this large a crowd, Tiger. We had about 5 people in the front. We had maybe five black people right in the front, right about there. I said, is anybody else coming? Is this it? Are we open? I don't even think Tim Scott, I know Turner wasn't there. I don't think Tim Scott was there either, I'm not sure. But that's all changed, and we got the highest vote, and one of the big reasons I'm president today is because of the black vote, and I always appreciate it. So this is a very special time. It's Black History Month. We love you all. We're going to work with you. We're going to make America greater than ever before. We're going to do it together, and I want to thank you all for being here. It's an incredible honor. And to my great golfing friends, I want to thank them in particular, because they really are. They make a lot of money. They don't have to be up here with me. Tiger doesn't have to be here. Adam doesn't have to. They don't need this, but they love you and they love our country. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
You heard it for what it's worth. I think it's worth a lot. And that's not because I'm a Republican. No, it's not. It's not because, I'm one of those people that think Trump is something other than what I think he is. He is what it is. But I do have a degree of awareness of not only myself, of the spirit archetype of the Negro. And one of the things I think is happening as we transition out of February into spring, and out of a lot of what's happening as it relates to the politics and other energies that's flowing. For instance, President Trump has stated that he is exploring and thinking about and trying to see how, working with Elon Musk, to give citizens a $5,000 dividend check off of some of the money that's been recouped from those Democratic reptilians regimes and slush funds and misappropriations and other crimes. They saying since we have been able to collect this money, let's share 20% of it with the public. Now, I would say that makes sense. That sounds fair. There's a lot of elected officials, particularly them damn, whatever, I ain't gonna deal with that. But there's one in particular. This David Crockett head person out of Texas. She got on the media and she said, no, I'm not doing that. We ain't in the business of passing out money. Now remember, they done passed out money to all type of creatures, all type of aliens and other countries for all type of things. But when it come down to giving some dividends back to the American citizens that paid those taxes that they stole and misappropriated, she said, no, we don't do that. All right. And then she has the audacity of wonder. And this is Black history. But it's taking place right now. Because that little gal is probably still in her 30s. And people want to say, give the young people a chance. I agree with that. But I really believe that anybody young that's going to Congress or going to Washington, D.C., need to be at least 52 or 53 years old. If you're any younger than that, you probably ain't mature enough to understand what life is about. So when you get there, you say things that don't make sense. And for her to say, I don't know what good $5,000 would do y'all. Now that's paraphrasing, but that's what she said. Here's a Black contemporary elected official that don't know what $5,000 will do in a time like this to help the citizens that's been raped, stolen from, robbed under their regime. But she didn't stop there. History once again. The history is interesting because we will look back in time and we will see this. Remember, this is an elected official from Texas. She went in, she's a lawyer from what I understand, she went in with a, I guess, Negro type bank account. Now they say she worth between 4 and 9 million, and she ain't been in Congress 2 years. And now Elon's now for to start trying to figure out how can somebody make $170,000 or $200,000 a year and in 2 or 3 years have 10 and 12 million dollars. I hope they find out. And I hope they deal with that. Because if it was me or you, and we had a job, and we put our money in the bank, number one, if we tried to put that type of money in the bank, we go to the penitentiary. But they say that there's at least 50 congressional people. They said $96 million is how it balances out when you divide it by 50. That's how many billions of dollars that they say, some of them say, it just appeared in my account. That's history. That's what's been happening to us for the last election cycles. But then she said, I'm actually rooting for Canada and Mexico in the war between those countries and Trump as relates to how much money going to be charged them for doing business here unless they can agree on some things. Now, for an elected official to say that just makes me wonder, and that's what I mean when I say they ain't mature. That makes me wonder. That sounds like treason. You elected to defend and uphold this country. But you say, no, I'm going to roll with the opposition. I'm gonna ride with those that are trying to defeat this country. You say, why do you spend so much time on that? Because right longer now, we got so much happening. Another colored. This person named, and I don't even want to describe her because then you'll say I'm hating. I ain't hating, but it's a disgrace. There's a clip where she's saying she and her colleagues, and she was sort of pissed off at them because they hadn't been loud enough, vocal enough, that they should censor the American people. And we all know that did happen. And then they had a little bit of an adjustment, but this is a black, colored female saying that we should be censored so they could have full power to program and do whatever the hell they want to do without being challenged. So when you look at so-called Jim Crow, you look at Reconstruction, I would suggest that the descendants of the Negro, the current Negro deniers, are worse off than our ancestors. Because our ancestors looked up, stood up, and spoke up for us. But these new contemporary people, they only look out for themselves and others. Anything other than their own reflection, they like. Now, Miss Amani, play this piece where Trump is at this Negro History, Black History Month activity at the White House. Let the people hear that.
You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. My administration is fighting with everyone and all our heart to reverse the pain inflicted by Democrat leaders and to deliver hope and opportunity and prosperity for all Americans, but for African American communities all throughout our land.
Now, you know, I think we have to look at things for what they're worth. But it seems to me, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Trump seemed to be more comfortable with Negroes, African Americans, blacks, or whatever you call them. And I really don't like to say blacks because there's too many other black people over here in America now. So when you start talking about black Americans, I mean, damn, that's damn near, really, it's more them than it is the Negro here now. The Negro still ain't no more than about 14 or so, 14 or so percentage. But the problem is all of these other black people from black countries that are here. So when you say black Americans, many of those people are truly black Americans. One of their parents are black, or both of their parents. You know, these people are here, been here. So when you talk about us and what that Negro history represent, Trump seemed to be pretty comfortable. And it was good to see all of those people there. Now some of the material I guess we couldn't use because those people recorded it on their cell phones, I'm thinking, and when they posted it, it didn't fit the format that we use or they use here. But you can go places and you can see, look like they had a good time, day in, the other one's out. So the other ones that's out, that was there last year, they all talking crazy. They mad at the people that was there, calling them all type of names. They mad at Trump. They just mad. Why you mad? Last year, you was there. You was the big shot. Negroes. Although you don't call yourself Negroes, but whatever you think you are, it was you. And you had planned to be there this year. But this year, you got another cream of the crop. These individuals that's there, they feel just like y'all felt, that they're all above the street level. And that's back to history. The so-called middle class, upper class, don't want to talk about the street level. The street level is actually the hustling and surviving class, doing what they got to do to be here, hopefully with a minimum and a effort toward eliminating the criminal activity. But there's a lot of people that are worthy to be in those type of gatherings, but you know, everything is connected. Everything is political. So when we see people, whether they democratic, reptilians, or mega Republicans, or whatever else you want to call them, at the end of the day, it really don't really matter. Because those that are on the street level, and I don't mean that like we out here homeless or whatever, but those of us that are out here, some of us are doing work alongside of these people that we see. And then we make the mistake of electing people for whatever reason instead of getting elected ourselves. And then if we would have had the time, and we're going to start back, and you know, I said I didn't want to do it because me and boys used to do it all the time, doing them shows in the big studio. But at least that's an hour. And during an hour, some of these things can be taken to another level. But the 25 minutes is a little difficult now because the technology is not really flowing the way it needs to flow for my spirit as it relates to being able to take it where it needs to go. Because there were some young people that were speaking on some things as it relates to Black history. But in order to be able to run the clip and be able to do commentary on the clip, it just is not enough time for that. So I say that to say this. What you see is awkward. Because I know some of you all, and I see you all the time, that's why I'm back down here doing this. Because I see you in the store, I see you on the street. Y'all say, man, what happened? Woo, 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 woo. So I say, all right, let me try this again. But the bottom line is, you know and I know that our flow is different. But your flow is different because of changing times. So, you know, I do a little something with Brother Tucker and Dr. Russell and others. And we're going to start trying to do a little bit more of that simply because of the fact that things are moving so fast now. And that there's opportunity that will be available for the Negro. But we got too many of these elected creatures in place that they might kill the opportunity. When that David Crockett head female from Texas calls Trump a thug, and she called him a thug like she getting ready to throw down. Now remember, she's an elected official. When that senior citizen female from wherever she's from that was standing at the educational building in Washington, and they were snatching on the door, and she was insinuating that the people in there with the guns was coming to kill them. See, at a point, that turns people like Trump that might be willing to give you a little something against you because they're looking at what's representing you. You say, well, he ain't appointed no black folks for this and for that. He appointed one. Why? Because it was clear. It was clear. Most of the Negroes didn't want to support him. But there was men and some women that stood up and supported him. And, that's what got him maybe to one. But in a minute, if we keep going like we're going to end up in bad shape. Not because he didn't want to help us, but because we told him we didn't want his help. Until next week, alafia, peace, and good health.